evening once again. Welcome to the 9th edition of Webtalks by CCMA. CCMA, as you all know, is a Construction Chemicals Manufacturers Association. It's a decade-old organization with primary objective to create more awareness of best practices of construction chemicals across construction industry professionals. With this session, we will be covering on mineral-based surfaces in modern architecture. We have two speakers with us from Ardex Endura. Both of them will be taking us through various aspects of mineral-based surfaces in modern architecture. And then we will also go through the aesthetics and maintenance of the same in Indian context as well. We have one Mr. Alexander Herlich and Mr. Ashish Luthra from Ardex Endura. Now I will first introduce, I will request Mr. Alexander Herlich to start with the session, and then we can take the Q&A by end of the session. If you have any question and answer, you can always raise it up to CCMA Webinars, who will be the host of this session. Mr. Alexander, the platform is yours. Please start with your session, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. I hope everyone can see my presentation now.
Yes, Alexander, we can.
Okay, great. First of all, two sentences from my side. I'm Alex from Ardex Germany. I'm part of our international and global project specification service. So for this case, I'm your speaker and presenter today from Ardex side. And from my education, I'm an architect, and at the moment I'm the deputy head of Pondomo, and Pondomo is the architectural side product from Ardex. So we are dealing with cementitious coverings for floors and walls, and for that reason I will give you a small overview today of the mineralic-based surfaces in the modern architecture. We separated our presentation into three topics. We are talking about cementitious wall renders, the cementitious design levelings, and, as I think everyone knows, the terrazzo floors. What can you do, or what are we doing with cementitious wall renders? Here you can see that we just changed, or we switched from tiles to wall renders by using it in residential areas. Here's shown a kitchen where the tiles are taken away, and we've done a new homogeneous and reduced concrete look by using a wall render. On the other hand, you can use wall renders in bathrooms or in other areas of your house. Here you can see a small bathroom where the whole walls are covered with a cementitious wall render. With the help of a polyurethane sealer or maybe a waxing sealer, you can secure the cement or the whole product against the curing from water. So from that side, we are also able to do it in bathrooms. The third fact, and which is also very attractive, you can use those wall renders by creating monolithic staircases, or in this case, a staircase just straight on another floor. It's very, very robust. It's shock absorbing. And from that case, we are always recommending to do it when you want to have a minimalistic look. I think more details will be shown by Ashish after my presentation. So changing from the wall to the floors, we talk about the usage of design levelings. So design levelings in general are traveled between 5 to 10 millimeters. You can use them on several substrates like cement screeds, calcium sulfate screeds, concrete screeds, or maybe concrete slabs. Also available on the Lindner hollow flow system, which is very unique. They have a workability from, let's say, 5 degrees, approx 25 degrees, according to the contractor's situation. Most of all are very fast setting products so that you can walk over it between 3 and 4 hours after laying it down. In the end, the compressive strength will be around 30 Newton per square millimeters. And we have a slip resistance between R9 and R10 by using those products. So to break it down, you see, you can use them in residential areas. Easy, there's no issue, there will be no problems at all. Use them maybe in hotel lobbies or in areas where mid-traffic is done. This one is a project from the Scandinavian countries. This is a library where it is used. And also you can use it in academies or maybe in educational buildings as well. But first of all, we recommend using those kinds of levelings in residential areas. You see it seamless, over 40 square meters. So it is very attractive, very minimalistic, and it's definitely speaking the language of architectural needs and architectural design. Not to forget, also in office buildings, you can use it very, very good because there's no high traffic, no high loads are brought on the surface. In that case, it's easy to use those leveling and those design levelings in office buildings as well. There are no issues to use them in staircases. It's just a kind of craftsman knowledge, but Ashish will show you some pictures as well, and for that reason, you will see or you will get more information later. There is a second kind of design leveling, which will be troweled directly on the floor by doing some kind of scratching technique. By using this technique, we have a layer thickness between 2 to maximum 4 millimeters. That is very good for renovations, very good for refurbishment. Like the other product, you can do it on cement screeds, calcium sulfate screeds, on concrete slabs, old tile coverings as well, and of course on Lindner floors. Here also are used these fast setting cements, and because of the thickness from approximately 2 to 4 millimeters, the drying time is shorter and you can walk over it after 2 hours. The slip resistant, because of using a scratch technique, is more or less R10 or higher. Here's one project we did in the past and we are very proud of. This is a kind of museum, and for that case I'm showing you those thin layer scratchings are very robust. They are very shock absorbing, and there are no issues of getting damages like deep scratches or maybe holes or pinholes in it, because the material hasn't that thickness like the self-leveling between 5 and 10 millimeters. Of course, you can use it in residential areas as well. Here is a loft building where they want to achieve a very, very cementitious, cloudy appearance. We also do have key accounts like Adidas shown in the picture is also very affected by those products because they are scratch resistant, they're very long lasting with good sustainability. And for that reason, they decided in their shops to use this kind of product. We do not have any issues using them in restaurants. Here is a restaurant where sushi food, so food made of fish, is served. And as you can see on the black floor, it looks like a little bit more or less like waves or the movement of the ocean. And this was the wish from the customer to copy and to illuminate the movement from the water to the floor of the restaurant. So you see with those kinds of levelings, you can also do artificial work. Coming to our last segment of floors, terrazzo is a very traditional product. It's very robust and resilient. We have layer thicknesses from 11 to 13 millimeters. It's depending on the usage of the aggregates. The substrate always is a cementitious dry and shrinkless concrete, and Lindner hollow floor as well. It's very versatile, and the maximum load depends on the respective substrate. So if you have a very good cementitious screed or a good concrete slab, you can cover huge loads on those terrazzo. The slip resistance belongs to the kind of grinding work, but in general we talk about R9 and R10. Here you see a little close-up from a terrazzo made out of white cement. The aggregate is chosen very traditionally with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of gold, a little bit white and gray. And this makes terrazzo so unique. Here in Germany, this is what I can say, we use terrazzo more or less in public areas. So here you can see a museum which was realized in 2012. We have base sizes from approximately 80 meters windows, and the floor construction is cooled and heated. So over the year, the floor always has the same temperature. For that reason, we were able to do so big base sizes. In general, when we talk about terrazzo or those design levelings, we do have base sizes from approximately 40 square meters in maximum. The variation of terrazzo we are talking about is the aggregate. You can use typical sands, typical aggregates you use for your underlayment screeds, like seen in this picture. But you also can use local aggregates made of Carrara, made of marble, something like this. Also for terrazzo, we achieved one of our key accounts. This is the automotive brand Porsche. Here was installed a terrazzo system made of aggregates from 1 to 3 millimeters. So a very, very, very fine aggregate. And as you can see from a distance, it looks more or less like a self-leveling, but it has a very exclusive look when you see it in real life. This is a realized product. This is the Kuala Lumpur airport. Here they wanted to copy more a granite stone, and therefore they used the aggregate looking like a granite, seamless floor over hundreds of meters. And here as an underlayment also was used a hollow floor system with a screed on top. This picture shows you a hotel in Berlin, head city, head capital of Germany. Here's a very light and well done project in Abu Dhabi, the central market. And in the end, a picture again from a shopping center here in Germany. As you can see, terrazzo is more or less used in areas where you have high traffic, where you want to get a real exclusive and high quality floor. For that case, we talk about those three segments of flooring: the self-leveling in thick layer and thin layer, and of course terrazzo. And I think now I have to say thank you for your audience, and I will pass over to Ashish, and he will show you some projects and work done in India. And I've seen the presentation, and it's very, very attractive, and yeah, it makes me proud to have one of those colleagues in our brand. So Ashish, I'm out.
Thank you, Alexander. Mr. Ashish, the platform is yours. Please go ahead with your session.
Thank you. So am I visible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Lovely. Hi, just to introduce myself, I'm Ashish Luthra from Greenheart Floors Private Limited. I will be, like Alex, talking about mineral-based surfaces in modern architecture and their maintainability, but mostly in the Indian context. These systems were introduced to the Indian market about a decade and a half back. They are also referred to as micro-concrete systems. There were multiple challenges in the initial years. No trained workforce, zero hands-on experience, no technical talent. As a result, the installations were far from perfect. And even when the floors and walls were executed by the book, it was most difficult to have the clients understand that what they saw as an aberration was in reality the essential character of the floor. In the early stages of the introduction, they saw variation in the finishes as patches. Getting there was quite a process. It was only in the persistence of the Indian partners and the very enthusiastic support from the international collaborators that the desired results could be achieved. Today, the technology is widely accepted by all segments of the construction industry, be it commercial, residential, or institutional. These floors and wall finishes are highly appreciated for their seamlessness. And they can be installed seamless nearly to the same extent as the sub-base. In addition, there are limitless options of colors. The products are genetically white and can be pigmented to the desired shade. Beyond this, the floor and walls can be dyed using tone-on-tone method. A variegated look can be achieved using this technique. However, here is an example of a calmer floor wherein there is minimal variation. Further, should a textured finish be desired, the same can be installed using different tools. In this particular slide, it is a trowel finish. I'd like to show you some more examples of seamless floors. And some more here. Now, printing is another thing that is becoming increasingly popular. Printing on mineral-based surfaces is the latest innovation which is gaining popularity. Printing adds to the aesthetic appeal of the walls and floors. It is like painting on a canvas. The prints can be done in solid or metallic colors. They're all protected with high-build sealing systems, and as such have the same life as the floor or walls. I'd like to show you some more examples. The one slide you see here in the middle is a 40 feet dia print. Show you some more. On the right-hand side, the slide that you see is a distress print. A mandala print. And also, these same surfaces can be inlaid with metals like brass, stainless steel, gunmetal, even stones. Here again are some of the examples of floors which have been inlaid. This is a wall which is inlaid with brass. Further, India has some of the most beautiful stones, which are available in different colors and tones. Small aggregates made out of these stones can be added to the surfacing systems to create finishes which resemble natural stones. These finishes, when installed, look like one seamless stone. And finally, good old terrazzo. These floors can be installed in large panels. One could easily go up to 650 square feet without a joint. The optics of a seamless terrazzo is incomparable. Mineral-based terrazzo floors take exceedingly well to polish. They can be ground in about 24 hours, thereby dramatically reducing the installation time. Owing to their robust character, as Alex mentioned, these floors are ideal for use in high traffic areas like shopping malls, airports, and institutional buildings. Here are some examples. This is an interesting staircase where the horizontal and the verticals are all done with mineral-based terrazzo. A panelized version as desired by the client. And finally, the maintainability. All these floors and wall finishes are easy to maintain. Normal mopping with clean water and neutral soaps is enough. In case of large areas, the use of a single disc machine with a white pad is recommended. These are the same machines we normally see in hotel lobbies while the maintenance is on. A refresher coat of sealer is recommended for heavy traffic areas after 3 to 5 years. In summation, mineral-based surfaces allow for complete freedom to dream. And now I will say my thank yous. Should you have any queries, please feel free to write to us. Thank you. Over to you, Karthik.
Thank you, Mr. Ashish. I would request you to stop the screen share so that we can go on the gallery mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Now I welcome Alexander and Mr. Ashish here on the Q&A. I would request participants to share any questions they have. Okay, let me start with the first question. This question is to Mr. Alexander, and this is from Fairmate Chemicals. The seamless cementitious floor of 2 to 4 mm thickness. In that case, how much is the bond strength with epoxy screed? How is the abrasion resistant characteristics? Is it any sealer coat is being applied on floor? I believe there are 3 questions here. Probably I will repeat the question again one by one. The seamless cementitious floors of 2 to 4 mm thickness. In this case, how much is the bond strength with epoxy screed?
So we can say in general, our thin layer levelings from 2 millimeters are always that strong like your surface is. So epoxy based or resin based screed has a very, very high loaded ability. So in the case of 2 millimeters, there's no space for the covering, for the cementitious covering to be compressed. In that case, the covering has the same bonding strength like the epoxy screed.
Okay. The second question would be, how is the abrasion resistance characteristics?
We are talking about an abrasion rate between 12 and 15. We are still having a cementitious covering on a surface like an epoxy screed, a cementitious screed, or so on. But again, because it is that thin, there are only less damages, and by doing a good maintenance, you can always cover those scratches again, and there will be no issue of getting dirt into it and getting some kind of yellowishing effect or browning effect in those gaps.
And the third question would be, is there any sealer coat being applied on the floor?
Yeah, you have several kind of opportunities to seal those floors. You can do it by using waxing material or oil material to get more or less an impregnated system like a wooden floor. This is one option, or you can use it in combination or only by using polyurethane sealers. And this is more or less the way you do it when you have higher traffic areas, to keep everything away from your cementitious floor and to keep it shiny, to keep it clean, like Ashish says in his maintenance lessons minutes ago.
Perfect. The second question, I believe, is also to Alexander. This is from Mr. Shashi Kumar from ADEX. He has a question whether if he can apply Pandomo on external exposed areas like exposed facade areas.
There is an official and unofficial statement from ADEX. Official, no, we cannot apply Pandomo outside. Unofficial, I think Ashish is able to answer this question because he is he's the one trying things on his own, and I think he can say some words to this.
Sure. I suppose you can do it outside, only you have to choose a different sealer. And beyond doing, so we have a thin lay product that Alex talked about, and I further surface it with a different material again from Ardex Germany, and then we apply sealers. So to answer your question, yes, we have systems that we can use on the outside, and we have been doing that.
Perfect. I think that was the last question. If there is any more questions, the participants can drop it as a message. We will give a minute for the participant to try and drop a message. Okay. 1 minute. I think someone has raised a hand. Give me a second to check. I think, oh, sorry, there is one more question. Sorry. There is a question from Mr. Soman Mathi. Is it single component product or multi-component product? I'm not sure which product he is referring to, but if the presenters are aware, you can go ahead and answer the question.
Yeah. We are talking about a single component product because we're talking about mineralic based surfaces. So the only addition is using water or using water added with pigments that you can change and vary the color. But all in all, we are not mixing any polyurethane, epoxy or other dispersion systems directly into the mixing. Our products are to nearly 99% completely mineralic. We are talking about 1% is only to get a better working ability or better working performance. So we're talking about additives being mixed in our plant. So all in all, you use the bag, you use water, and that's it.
Okay. The next question is from Mr. Pranav Parekh. Is this self-leveling or mortar consistency application?
We have two sides of installation or of consistency. So the thick layer, 5 to 10 millimeter thickness, is a self-leveling. So it has the ability to flow, that you have only say, okay, I have to trowel, I have to do my troweling marks in it. The thin layer system is more or less a mortar consistency, which is not flowing alone. So you scratch it, you can use it on walls and floors as well. So in that case, you have more or less a mortar consistency.
Okay. The next question is from Mr. Tyagarajan Balasubramaniam. I believe this question is to Mr. Ashish. What will be the customer price of terrazzo floors per square meter?
Depends on the thickness, but typically it depends on the aggregate that one uses, depends on the thickness, also depends on the area. Are you asking me to do 200 square feet, or are you asking me to do 2,000 or whatever? So I would say it is safe to assume that the price would be between 6,500 to 7,500 per square meter.
Perfect. Yeah, I think those are all the questions. Thanks a lot, Mr. Alexander and Mr. Ashish, for taking your time and taking us through all these wonderful mineral-based surfaces. Thank you once again. Thank you all the participants for joining us this evening for this session. Thanks a lot. Look forward to see you in the next Web Talk session soon.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. All right, Alex, bye.
Ashish, bye-bye. Stay well.
Good. Okay, bye.